With this, I will give the floor to George PECHLIVANOGLOU. He should also be online with us now. George, good to
However,
have you with us.
thank you.
He is the Vice President of EUNICE Energy Group, representing the joint efforts with Blink for establishing a network of electric vehicle charging stations in Greece. So we will go back a little bit on discussion that we had and the presentation that we had by Ms. Zdoukou earlier. So what are the plans of the company for developing the network here in Greece?
Thank you. Thank you very much for the introduction, Professor Andriasopoulos, and thank you very much for the invitation to present and speak at this very important conference. Um, I am very glad that General Secretary Ms. Zdoukou as well as Mr. Ioannou gave me a very good intro to my presentation. So I will be able to present through my slides the latest developments in all these efforts of both EUNICE Energy as well as Blink Charging Europe. So I will just share the screen right now. So the latest developments with respect to EV charging are interconnected with the developments in terms of storage. And I would like to take you through a few points that will be the leading pillars for changing the energy system, as General Secretary Zdoukou mentioned before. First of all, regarding the EUNICE Energy Group, very briefly, I want to present the fact that in the end, the new paradigm for energy generation, distribution, trading, and consumption requires that energy companies
Can you
diversify.
try to share the screen, George? We cannot see the screen, your presentation.
Okay, I apologize. I hope you can see it now.
Okay, it seems that it's working. Yes, we can see that now.
Okay. Apologies. So, as I mentioned, LNG companies need to diversify and be able to be active in all these aspects: distributed energy, EV charging, uh, demand response, smart grids. So this is the direction that UNICE follows, and together with a joint venture with Blink Charging USA, we are entering the pan-European EV charging network of Blink. We're starting from Greece and expanding to the other countries, and trying to take advantage of all the possibilities that this new energy paradigm gives us. So, in the post-coal electricity system, what are the challenges and what are the some of the solutions? So, just briefly, some of the challenges are the grid integration costs due to renewables, which are distributed and are intermittent. The intermittency, which is less predictable within the sphere of renewable energies, as well as the grid management, which when the grid is less stable or it doesn't count on large stabilizing units, grid management is an important point. So for these three challenges, distributed generation and smart grid load management, so demand response is one of the solutions. Sophisticated prediction models, artificial intelligence is another one. Storage is a very important solution, as well as the smart management of renewables. And then, of course, the distributed ancillary services to the grid. So in order to stabilize the grid through distributed system, IoT, as it was mentioned before, and of course, the decentralized grid management. I will focus on just the 2 points, the storage and the distributed ancillary services, uh, presenting how central storage and decentralized storage could actually play this role. Now, for the central storage, an example is a new project of UNICE. It's called Ptolemaida BESS. It's a large storage unit. It's a storage station of 250 megawatt capacity, 1,000 megawatt hours, capacity, and 250 megawatt power. Um, is able to reduce the curtailment of renewables in the overall the general region of the Hellenic grid in order by providing energy shift. It's able to allow peak saving for in terms of load peaks and production peaks. It of course provides grid frequency control and of course reactive power regulation and ability for black start. So it's kind of providing all the services that a very large buffer or a very large power station would provide, only in the new paradigm, energy paradigm, where the major fossil fuel units are not anymore existing. Now, this is, I would say, the more traditional way of doing things in this new energy scheme. Um, One other possibility is to use real-time load management through smart platforms in order to use distributed storages for grid balancing and for supporting the grid. So basically, in that sense, it is possible to control both distributed renewables as well as distributed storage systems in order not only to stabilize the grid, but also to offer arbitrage capability by shifting the consumption production cycles, and then be able to both offer grid services that will stabilize the grid and improve the market penetration of renewables. Now, how could this happen? How could this be a reality? One example would be the houses of the future, or basically the residential buildings that will be modified to be compatible with this new energy paradigm. Buildings will be able to have energy production. So let's say photovoltaics on their roofs, a small battery system, smart devices for managing the loads, and decentralized but centrally controlled platforms in order to manage the whole energy balance and the whole services. So such a thing already exists and has been developed by our company, and we have been testing it thoroughly in order to allow for a very large amount of households to operate in a semi-autonomous mode, and at the same time be able to offer their services centrally when it's needed. So this is the first step. Second step is integrating EVs into this new residential distributed energy system. In that sense, by integrating the charges, the EV charges, with communication with the aforementioned platform, it is possible to manage an optimal production and consumption cycle. Now, as we can see on the graph, most charges happen midday and in the early afternoon. These are the times where people are either working or are doing the rest of their activities, such as shopping or parking their cars for the afternoon. This is a major load. At the same time, we have the typical grid load, and we also have the distribution of power generation from renewable energy sources, an example of which is this yellow bell curve, which is the typical production for solar photovoltaics. By having the ability to manage both EV charging as well as the residential loads through smart home devices, and at the same time use distributed battery storage and renewables, it is possible to just flatten all these curves and offer a much more efficient and cost-effective way of both producing and consuming energy. This is something, as I said, we have developed, and this is the reason why EUNICE has strategically decided to move in several paths at the same time, while these systems need to cooperate harmoniously with each other in order to have such complex balance achieved. Now, if we see this a little bit on a bigger scale, what we aim for is a general system internationally that will be able to offer these services. For this reason, the EUNICE trading aggregator has been set up in order to manage both the demand response on the Blink network side, as well as the services of the central storage system, the Ptolemaida BESS, as well as any other production source or controllable load. A unique and interesting point here is the fact that setting up with the great support of Blink Charging USA, setting up a network which is based on a roaming platform. This roaming platform is the platform of Hubject, allows the exchange of information and the controlled operation of chargers also outside the country. This gives the possibility to perform trading activities as well as demand response services, not only in Greece within the Greek grid system, but also outside of that, not only through the typical routes of energy stock markets, but also through a very modern and dynamic EV charging network. So in a nutshell, this is a little bit of the pathway of the companies, EUNICE Energy Group, together with Blink Charging, trying to bring new solutions in this new era of electricity. Thank you.